So imagine you're turning 50. So I turned 50 today. So yesterday. So today is the 1st of September. Yesterday was the 31st of August. I visited my mother on Monday, which was the 30th of August. And I get this frantic phone call from her yesterday. She's all upset. And she thought that yesterday was the 6th of September. I think she had one of those weekly newspapers. You know, you get those Caxton newspapers, like in your area. I grew up with a newspaper called the Northeastern Tribune. You could have the Constantia Times or the Paternoster Chronicle. You get the meaning. So they put a date. They give the week. So my mother obviously she saw 6th of September. So I don't know why she panicked. She phoned me all apologetic. Oh, Damon, I thought I saw you. I didn't wish you happy birthday. It's already the 3rd. She's all upset. Now the problem is I can't say she's deaf, because if you say that somebody's deaf, that means they've got no hearing at all. But I can't say she's hard of hearing either, because she's worse than hard of hearing. So can I say she's very hard of hearing or almost completely deaf? So the thing is, she phoned me while I was out somewhere. I was getting supplies from one of my suppliers. So I couldn't start shouting for her to listen, for her to hear me. I tried to explain to her the whole dates. No, today is the 31st of August, Ma. And then I tried to make a joke. I said, you're acting like you're 90. The joke is that she is 90. She didn't get my joke because she couldn't hear me. I can't tell you how many times I think I had to tell her 4 times. No, today's the 31st of August, don't worry. You know, she's 90. So, I must say, pretty good for 90. This is like the first sign that she's really showing her age. I mean, that's pretty bad, hey? To get the date so wrong by a whole week. That's not so good. So we visited her on Monday, and she was wearing this jersey that she just knitted. And you know what she done? You know what, my mother, she's so weird. So she can't believe she's 90. She thought she would only live until 80. She's very proud of her. This is the last jersey I'm ever knitting. I used up the rest of my old wool to make this jersey. And she shows us her jersey, very proud of her jersey. But here's the thing. We visited her a month earlier. She told us exactly the same story. So there you go. That's when you start losing. You know what the first sign you start losing it? Is when you go shopping, you park your car in the parking lot, and then you come out, you don't remember where you parked your car. Can I be honest? It's happening. It's happening to me. It's happening to me. I'm busy scratching my right eye constantly. This eye's been feeling sore, but a bit of pain in my eye. But I must say the pain's gone away, but it feels a bit scratchy. Feels a bit scratchy. I had an incident a couple of years ago where one of my miniature schnauzers, her name was Candice Derman, Candice. She's still alive, but we were just fostering her. We were just looking after her. We had to take her back to the breeder because he wanted to show her, and he felt that our garden wasn't conducive to looking after her coat very well. So the one day I grabbed Candice, I'm being affectionate, bad move. I gave her a terrible fright and she scratched my eye. And I actually scratched my cornea. And the ophthalmologist, she warned me, she said, basically for the rest of your life, you're going to have a scratchy eye. You might have to use eye drops. Not really an eye drops person. So this age creeps up on you, hey? I noticed I started off with one grey hair in my eyebrow and one grey hair in my other eyebrow. Now the one eyebrow, my right eyebrow, I've lost count how many grey hairs there are. So Bernice, the wife, she used to take a pair of tweezers and she would enjoy pulling that grey hair out. And it was so damn annoying. Thank God she's not going to do it anymore because there's just too many grey hairs. Too many grey hairs. Speaking of grey hairs and speaking about death, bad health, former President Jacob Zuma, he's just saying, he's just saying fuck you to everybody, eh? He just doesn't give a shit. So his doctors handed in a medical report last week, apparently. So last week the story was that they missed the deadline to hand in the medical report to explain why his court case should be postponed. So I don't know how I missed the story, but they never ever reported that the medical report was eventually handed in. This week they say the medical report was handed in by his personal doctors. But now apparently the NPA want to send their doctors to examine Jacob Zuma. And Jacob Zuma says, no, I refuse. You cannot examine me. And that was yesterday. But then towards the end of the day, the story changed, where the NPA said they were not going to insist on giving him a medical examination. So maybe the medical report that his doctors gave was acceptable. But here is the thing. Jacob Zuma just doesn't give a shit. It's like he's got no fear. And I've been thinking about it. First of all, it started where the story that he had some traumatic injury didn't make any sense. I didn't believe it. And then I've been thinking about it. You know, he is 78 years old. And he's acting like without a care in the world. Maybe he's got something that maybe he's dying. Maybe Jacob Zuma's got. This is just a theory. This is just my gut feel. And maybe I enjoy making predictions because if I'm right, it's pretty cool, eh? It's also pathetic, but it makes me feel good. I think Jacob Zuma thinks he's dying. He may not be dying. I think he thinks he's dying. He's got something else, maybe cancer, maybe something else. Maybe he's got heart failure, who knows? Tumor in the brain, who knows? I think he thinks he's dying. Or he thinks, hey, I'm 78, let me push it. Because it just doesn't make sense. Because he's showing the middle finger. He just doesn't give a, he's got no fear. He's got no fear at all. The man has not got a worry in the world. I mean, he's facing so many charges. It's unbelievable. He just carries on. Just doesn't give a damn. And it reminds me, people talk of grumpy elderly people that just don't give a shit. You get these elderly people that, it's not they're going senile and they just think to themselves, hey, my life's almost over, I'll be rude and just do whatever I like because, hey, doesn't matter. I'm going to die soon anyway. I don't need friends. I'm going to die anyway. I can be rude. I can be nasty. That's some, I'm just saying some old people will do that. And that's Jacob Zuma. Doesn't have a care in the world. Yeah. ANC, eh? ANC, they are a ruling party. And I don't know what to say. So they're pushing for the municipal elections to be moved to February. And the original reasons was COVID restrictions. We can't do a fair and safe election, reliable election because of COVID. And Dikgang Moseneke, I think, ruled that. But Dikhamek Moseneki doesn't make the decision. He's just giving his legal opinion. And then now it's going to the Constitutional Court, and the Constitutional Court is deciding. But now the ANC is pushing for it because they're not ready. They missed sending all their candidates lists to the IEC. We had glitches in our system. Is the story? But you're running the country, and the old story where they can't pay salaries, their staff are not getting paid. I don't know what to say, but it's kind of awkward. Cyril Ramaphosa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, he arrives at Luthuli House. That's the ANC headquarters in Braamfontein. And hey, where is the security guard? Hey, we haven't, sir. We haven't paid the security. Oh, we haven't paid them. What do we do? And what Cyril Ramaphosa, he comes into his office. Hey, where is my receptionist, Gladys? Sir, we didn't pay her either. Oh, what can we do? And now apparently the ANC is doing crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is for somebody who was an artist, successful, fallen on hard times. You help that person. Crowdfunding is for, oh my God, my child needs special leukemia treatment in a high-tech special children's hospital in Chicago. Crowdfunding is for Schlenter podcast people like me who need to be supported because we've got this podcast. It costs a lot. Costs a lot to run a podcast. Not really. We need money. It's nice to make a living. Anyway, go to my Patreon if you want to. I saw this story this morning, and I don't know. These kind of stories just don't get noticed. Nobody notices them, and to me, this is like a major, fascinating story. There's this woman, Constable Nomia Rosemary Ndlovu. She allegedly ordered hits, killings, assassinations of her elderly mother, her partner, 2 sisters, as well as her 5 nephews and nieces. The killing spree started in 2012 and it came to end in 2018. 6 people had been brutally killed, and she had put insurance, she had made herself the benefactor of these people's insurance, of her relatives. She had received almost 1.4 million rand in insurance claims over the years. What brought her down? One of the hitmen, she wanted him to kill one of the intended victims was going to be a 5-month-old child. And the hitman thought, no, I can't do this. I can kill your mother. I can kill your partner, your 2 sisters. Kill them, not a problem. But your 5-month-old nephew? So he went to the police, and that's how she got bust. And now this is in Tembisa, by the way. Tembisa, east rand of Gauteng, east of Johannesburg. So she's in court. Funnily enough, she hasn't been able to get bail. No, funnily enough. The story doesn't specify whether she used the same hitman each time. The one hitman wasn't keen on one of the victims, and then she got another hitman. How do you find hitman like this? What a story. What a story. Somebody needs to do a documentary on this. Carte blanche. Carte blanche. Maybe like this, we watched Devil's Dorp was very popular. We can call this Terrible Tembisa. Possibly. What a story. And I just would love to know, I would love to understand the psychology, what's in this woman's mind, this Nomia Rosemary and Glovel. You just kill all these people for the money. These are your relatives. Wow. Wouldn't it be great if you could just have like an in-depth interview with this woman? So I'm sure she'll be convicted. She'll go to jail, life imprisonment. Will she be released on parole? Who knows? Wow. Now this is a woman. And because the reason I mention this, what's interesting is that there's a lot of, we have a serious problem in South Africa with they call it gender-based violence. And I don't know why they don't just call it woman abuse. Because if a man is killed or abused, it's not really gender-based violence because it's not based on his gender. You get what I mean? It's just I've noticed also on Twitter. Here is the thing: what I don't understand, and I know this is slightly changing the topic, but it's just something that I picked up on in the last week or two. I've noticed on Twitter. I follow quite a lot of people, and there's 2 or 3 women on Twitter who are being abused. They're being harassed and abused on Twitter. Some men, they send the most abusive, disgusting comments. I can't even repeat some of them. Most of them I don't actually remember because they're so idiotic and so immature and don't make sense. Childish is the word. But here is the thing, mate. Here is the thing. Why don't these women just block them, ignore them, and move on? Instead, they will screenshot it and retweet it or reply. So you see their reply and you see the original insulting, offensive tweet. I mean, let me try and paraphrase an example. Somebody will write, you're ugly, nobody would rape you because you're ugly. That's really, really stupid, ignorant, ridiculous thoughts like that. But here is the thing. Just ignore them. You see, what you got to understand, you got to try and understand how these people think. Unagi, Roskella. By responding, by replying, and giving clever answers, they give clever answers clever retorts to these men in inverted commas. But you are indirectly, what you don't realize, you're empowering these men. You're showing that you've affected me, you've hurt me, you've affected me, you've actually made me upset, you've actually made me slightly fearful. By responding to them, you're actually empowering these cretins. So I say to you, please, just totally ignore them. Block them, just block them. That's the way to do it. And I can't help, but I'm sorry, maybe I'm being ageist. Maybe I've just turned 50. I can't say I'm wise. I'm not elderly and wise. I'm not one of those wise elderly people. But I think with experience, you learn these kind of things. And I've noticed these women, these 4 or 5 women that are responding, they're relatively young. These women are in their early 30s to mid 30s. And maybe they're not experienced enough to understand this, possibly. I mean, these are intelligent people, but intelligence doesn't come into it. You get emotional and you take it very seriously, obviously. Just block them. Just block them, block them, block them. That's the way to go. Just block them. Hey, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Yeah. And where was I? No update on the farewell party being organized for Siran. He was the assassin. He murdered Robert Kennedy back in 1968. Apparently, the farewell party is going off in the next few days, and there's been no change. The only thing I can report on the food. The food, correctional department in this particular penitentiary, it's just ordinary food that they get every day. So nothing special. In fact, people are even worried that Siran won't even realize that it's a party. They're worried that because they can't even put up decorations, as I mentioned yesterday. They want to put up a sign. They wanted to put up a sign saying, "Will not assassinate again." Couldn't even do that. So what they're going to try and do is have the party not during normal meal times. So Siran will realize this is different. Look, the man's 77. One of the reasons they're probably letting him go because they realize, maybe his health isn't so good. Maybe he's almost dead. You know what I'm saying? Did you see that Dale Steyn, the famous South African cricketer, Dale Steyn is officially retired from all forms of cricket. I think he stretched it out as long as he could. Well done, Dale. Lots of injuries the last 5-6 years. Stop, start. Then he retired from Test cricket. Then he was doing some T20 cricket. Dale Steyn, well, congratulations. Brilliant career. And we'll always remember Dale Steyn, so that's fantastic. Speaking of retirement, couldn't have happened sooner, as far as I'm concerned. Chief Justice Mogoeng. Excuse me. Chief Justice Mogoeng, he's actually leaving in 2 months' time. It's the end of his tenure, he's going. And I said this a couple of months ago. I think a lot of people are secretively happy. Bit of a controversial figure. Started off okay. Got a bit embarrassing when he spoke out against the vaccine, against COVID-19. Said it was the work of the devil. Anyone with any common sense and intelligence will think to themselves, hey, you're the Chief Justice. Oh my God, there's something, we've got to get rid of this guy. I'm sure they took him in the corner and just whispered in his ear, come, you got to go out, or, we've got to do something. You can't do this. You can't do this. Can't do this. And they haven't spoken about who his successor will be. And would it be Raymond Zondo? Would he be the next Chief Justice? Would it be that other Justice, Kabinda? We'll see. It seems like we're going backwards in some ways in certain parts of the world. Let's not even. We know the Afghanistan story. Let's not even go into that. We've gone backwards. Let's not even talk about it now. In Texas, do you see what they've done in Texas? They have outlawed abortions from 6 weeks. Most women only know that they're pregnant at 6 weeks. Hello. So this is an obvious, nefarious, indirect way of just outlawing abortion completely. What's going on in America? It's going backwards. And I don't understand how America works. America's divided in all these states, and so if you're in Texas, you go to another state and get the abortion. If you are pregnant in Texas and there are official records that you are pregnant because you went to the doctor, then you go to another state, have your abortion, come back to Texas, and your doctor might be might be forced by law to report that you're not pregnant anymore. I think that's the scenario I'm looking at. So then, will you be prosecuted in Texas for having an abortion in another state? Going backwards. I'm horrified. Yeah. Very serious show today. Very serious episode. Yeah, we'll see how it goes tomorrow.